with us Raj. Raj has been one of our students in the past, but later on, he was a person who started interviewing a lot of the students who got trained. And I still remember Sharat was saying that, do you know what? It is Raj who is going to interview them. So we better share good profiles. So that's the kind of impression that we have about you, Raj. Having said that, can you briefly explain about your journey on how you got into this field of data science?
Right. Thank you for very much for the opportunity. First of all, I really appreciate you considering me to be part of this live session. I'm really excited to join this call. Uh, First thing is, as you already know, or some other people in our team already know, I did my master's in US. I stayed there for 13 years. I came back in 2013, and I was predominantly a PeopleSoft guy, which is kind of an ERP solution. So there I have some visibility towards the ETL tools and how the systems work, the domain work, and all of that. So by the time I was around during the period of 2015-16 period, I saw that things were not moving. That was the time when data science was really picking up, along with other tools like the big data and other stuff. So for me, the foremost important thing is to make sure that I get the foundation right. So for me, that was the main target. It doesn't matter how long it takes for me, because I was doing my night shift during the time. I had a small kid, and I was really struggling for the time. In spite of that, my target was to make sure I have the foundation right and build on that foundation. So during my research and the first class, what I took with you, the first thing I observed is how you were very particular about how you start with the basics, all the way starting from the probability and the statistical information, the central limit theorem, and all of that, which is, frankly speaking, a very dry subject. And it takes a lot of encouragement from the trainer as well as the trainees also, to make sure they go through the first 1 or 2 months of the dry period when things don't fall in place. You try to understand the concepts. They go in and out of your brain. They don't stick because you can't make sense out of that. But once you have understood what those statistical inferences are, and you slowly start to incorporate those information into the models and algorithms, how they make use of that, and that in conjunction with the data what you have, how do you build on top of that and come up with the predictions, right? So at the end of the day, what you're going to do is predict what's going to happen with what happened historically, right? And my first few classes, the foundation, what you have explained, I still remember I didn't get a chance to sit in the class because it was house jam packed, and one of the few days I came late. I never wanted to miss the class. I stood outside your class, stood outside. Frankly, I didn't get a seat. Also, I was so inclined to hear to how you're teaching. I stood there for the whole 1 hour. I remember that. And after the class, I came to you and told that, hey, that's the best teaching I have ever heard from anyone. So from that day till now, I still have the same impression about you. The way you taught, very rarely I hear such kind of a teaching. Maybe in my kindergarten and my 10th class, I had some teachers like that. But this subject being so tough to understand, and starting from the foundation, because you can make quick buck, maybe through 2 or 3 months, give the training, make quick buck out of the people, but you didn't do that, right? You take 6 to 7 months of formal training, make sure the foundation is there, and then slowly build on top of that. It's not like I was left there, right? After the training, how do you attend the interview calls? What are the questions which will be there? So all that whole end-to-end solutioning of how you come into this field is what I really liked, right? And I still fall back to that. I still have the notes with me, what I made at the time. There are so many people who took Xerox out of my notes, not only because the information what you gave was so critical, but obviously my handwriting was pretty good, it seems. So they understood what was written there, and they understood the details as well. And so I had so many people take those notes, and I still follow that. Whenever I have something to fall back to, I go through those notes and try to come back to the foundation. And I have taken close to 50 to 100 interview calls, even in my latest job also. I'm the lead person who takes the interviews. I'm from HCL. So the first thing I do is I take a very simple solution. Right now, if you take data science, it has all gone to the chat GPT and the neural networks and all of that, right? And anyone who doesn't have any notion of how data science works can just go into Amazon and just run it, run the model, fulfill the data, input the data, and get the answer. That is not how data science works. You don't need data scientists for that, right? The inferences, once you get the answer, the prediction, how do you explain that to the client from a domain perspective as well as in a logical manner? Why do you think the prediction, for example, in the healthcare field, a number of 95 is very important, but in some other cases, like the spam and no spam, a 60% accuracy is good enough. Now, why? How do you come to that notion, right? How do you understand? So there are the p-value, the r-value, and all of that. That is where you fall back and explain to the client that, hey, because of these reasons, I think there's a very good number. But if you ask an analyst or anyone else who goes through this, he just run the model and say, I got 90% accuracy, that's good, right? That it doesn't work in that way. And also the models are breathing things. They keep on deteriorating and the decay happens. You have to make sure that you retrain all the time and do all of that. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is the foundation is what I look when I'm doing any interview calls, and all the selections I have done till date have formally or totally depending on a very simple statement. I take a very simple linear or logistic regression and ask them, what is your thought process, right? I don't want you to write the code. But unless you understand the foundation, the basics of how do you infer from the data, what are the things you do as part of the EDA step, why do you do that, how do you replace values, why do you think this is the right way, you can replace a value with a median or a mean or a mode, when do you decide what to use, right? This kind of information, not all the institutes do that. And I'm very happy and thankful to say that we have done that. I still stick to those initial foundation steps. And whomever I have selected till date, they're doing a fabulous job, wonderful job in the company, and I'm getting brownie points out of that as well. So thank you very much. I'll take a small pause. Any questions you folks have?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was amazing, Raj. A lot of people talk about you. They say that, you know what, Raj's interviews are really tough. And on the contrary, you're saying, I ask basic question. Actually, that becomes a tough question.
Exactly.
I believe, right? Because without knowing the basics, you'll not be able to answer those questions.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Prepare in a very hyper manner. What are the regularization techniques and things of that kind? But when basics are asked, they fumble.
Yeah.
And, one more thing is, Raj, for all the, this is the last question, by the way. For the students who are currently undergoing training, or for students who are already trained, what is the one single most important suggestion from your side on how to get into this field of data science? Because I believe you were the person who interviewed a lot of people, and a lot of our students are also working in HCL. Thanks to that, they told that interview was really tough, but I could answer probably 80% of the questions and so on. So what would the single most suggestion be from your side to the students who are currently undergoing the training, or for the students who have already completed the training?
Right. That's a very good question. I'll keep it in phases. The first one is, obviously, I'm a data scientist. I'm a pure data scientist. And I suggest that anyone who comes into this area has to have the foundation bang on, right? There might be some folks who will maybe start to ask questions from the chat GPT because that is the flavor right now in the market, and directly go into that. What is the prompt? How do you do that, right? That doesn't give the essence. Any analyst can do that, right? For me, at least from my perspective, even the people who interview along with me, my colleagues also, they try to understand the concept behind how a neural network works, right? No one is going to ask you any coding as such, but most of the people from data science, they're going to ask, how to infer the results? What is the logic behind it? Why did you use this model here? Why not this model? So this kind of inferences and understanding the results is what is needed, because in my times when I was getting trained from you, training the model in itself was taking days together and with a limited resource. But right now we are talking about GPUs and TPUs, and everything happens in a jiffy. There's no formal need, and there are also pre-trained models also, right? So it doesn't matter how or what models, how fast you get it, but the logic behind the answers, how do you get that? That is the foremost thing which I look when I'm trying to interview someone or take someone into my team. The second one is things are moving very, very fast, very, very rapidly in data science. So what you know today, tomorrow it's not going to be stay there. Even I was in a project for the past 2-3 months, and ChatGPT ran across me. It crossed me. So right now I'm trying to formally understand what's happening inside. So in other words, things are moving very fast, and you have to keep abreast of what's happening in the data science field on a day-to-day basis, right? You have to be on your toes and keep on training yourself, keep on getting better. And until you get the job, until you land the job, you have to keep on training yourself and getting better. That is the foremost thing you have to do. And the third one is right now, model building and all of that is already, you have some idea or some information already there, which is there for you to use. But slowly things are moving towards how would you manage the model? How would you retrain the model? When will you retrain the model? When will you decide that the model is not doing a good job? On what basis will you decide that? And how do you keep on retraining on a scheduled basis? How will you make sure things are running fine? So the productionization of models, which is also called the MLOps, and AI Ops is also one of the flavor, which you will have to have a look at that. So that is where things are right now, along with the Chat GPT and the other stuff. So from our perspective, what we are seeing from the clients a lot right now is, one thing is MLOps. The other one is obviously everyone is really interested on the Chat GPT, about the Google Bard and all of that. So that definitely is something which you want to add to your resume. And not only add, you have to understand what is the logic behind it. How did they come up with this? What are the vectors? What is vectorization? What is embeddings which you use in that? And NLP is not an easy task. Even for me, I struggle a lot. I keep on learning. So NLP, MLOps, AIOps, and obviously the foundation of how things work. So this is in an overall scenario, I can say that you have to be every day you learn something new until you land the job.
Absolutely. Well said, Raj. So there we go, friends. Basics are very important, and keep yourself abreast of the latest happenings. We have included in our curriculum LLMs, large language models, diffusion models based
Wonderful.
on these GPTs are built, and so on and so forth. So, and also there is a project, Raj, I just want to bring to your attention as well through this discussion. There is a company called as Steta, which is a startup by Dr. Ilan. Dr. Ilan happens to be CEO of Rela Group of Hospitals, right? And our folks, the students who got trained through us, have actually made use of Playground in OpenAI, and they have built BioGPT, which is specific for biology and medical stuff, and they've integrated it on Startup website. So that's the best part. So it's not just about LLMs. It's not just about ChatGPT for everything. They have looked at BERT, BioGPT, and various other things. And then they have combined all of these things. They have done some amount of prompt engineering to understand what kind of prompts are giving right results. And then it's out there on Startup. It will become live very soon.
Wonderful.
And I would love to, host you. I would request you to come to the office. We have opened a new office, Raj, near Durgam Cheru. Whenever you come, yeah, I would request you to come. We will have a chat. I'll explain to you all the good things that we are doing. And also, I would like guidance from your side.
Sure. Absolutely. I will never forget you for all what you have done. You have given a career for me in data science. So I always remember that, and hopefully I can do whatever I can to be part of your success story. I would be more than happy to do anything for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you much for your time, buddy. And to all the folks, you are in a good hands. So just put your hard work. I think things should sort of fall in place for you. Yeah. Wish you all the
Thank
very best to all the team. Yeah. Thank you, Barney. Have a great day.
Thank you.